What's up, YouTube? Once again, this is FM. I just want to quickly share my thoughts about the Deadpool movie. I'm not going to spoil anything. I just want to give some general strengths and weaknesses that I feel the movie has. Starting off with the most obvious strength is the star of the movie, Ryan Reynolds. If you're familiar with his old work, then you would know that he can handle both comedy and drama pretty well. I think he's been an underrated actor up to this point because he doesn't always choose the best movies to star in. Movies like Turbo, R.I.P.D., some movies that basically flopped for him, just didn't have a strong script to begin with. So I think this franchise is going to be huge for him moving forward. The next strength to me is obviously that the love story works a lot better than you think it would. Usually in movies like this, action movies, comic book movies, love stories kind of end up in the background. But in this case, I think the love story really added a lot to the movie. Okay, and it added a lot of heart into the movie. And that's what made so much of the humor actually work. Because some of the jokes may just seem completely crude to people if it wasn't for that relationship that's so strong within the movie. It really does carry a lot of weight even when it's not the main focus of the movie. There are times when it does stray away from that love story, but the love story is really at the center of the movie. Moving on, the next strength, I would say, is the action. There's really good action in the movie, not a ton of action, and I think they pull a kind of trick here where it seems like there's more action than there really is. A good comparison would be the movie 300. If you haven't watched that movie or you haven't seen it in a while, go back and take a look at it and really pay attention to how much action there is. It's actually a small percentage of the movie, but it's so kinetic. Things are constantly moving, so you feel like there's more action going on than there really is. And I think that's the same thing going on with Deadpool. Another strength also is, I would say, the supporting characters. Definitely the best version of Colossus that we have seen thus far. Negasonic Teenage Warhead, she was a nice surprise. And I like Ajax, the villain. And he's probably one of the most sadistic villains that I've seen in a good while. So again, those are what I feel are the major strengths of the movie. Ryan Reynolds, of course. I like the love story. The humor was excellent all throughout. Okay, and you probably heard by now, it does have a great opening title sequence. I'm not going to say exactly what it is if you haven't heard about it. Okay, but that was strong as well. Okay, and also, again, great supporting characters. Now, I like the villain, Ajax, but I do have to say that I wish he had more of a background. Okay, that is one little problem that's been consistent with comic book movies. Far too often, the villains seem like they're evil just for the sake of being evil. And I think, unfortunately, the villain in this movie kind of fell into that trap as well. Also, Angel Dust, played by Gina Carano, she does a great job with the action. But other than that, I mean, she's kind of just there to be muscle. That's pretty much all there is to her character. Another weakness is the structure. And I'm really going to be careful here not to give anything away. But I feel that the structure of the movie basically makes it feel like the movie's starting over and over again. Okay, so it felt like it was maybe a third of the way through the movie, and I still felt like it was just getting started, which is a little bit problematic, but maybe not a huge deal overall. Last weakness that I would point out is I felt like the movie was held back a little bit by the X-Men franchise. There's been a lot of inconsistencies with that franchise, and even with Days of Future Past resetting the timeline, they still kind of have some issues. And I'll say this mainly because, and this is a spoiler alert for X-Men Days of Future Past if you haven't seen that by now, the last scene in that movie offered up a lot of fan service showing us Wolverine returning to the future and all these X-Men characters that we're familiar with. But now they have this big gap in between the restart of the timeline and how do they still end up together in a way that we're familiar with them. And already it seems a little confusing to have Apocalypse coming up in between those two different time periods. Okay, so we'll see how they work that out, and hopefully Deadpool won't be held back by that anymore. And one thing I would like you all to do for me is let me know what you would like to see in a sequel. Now, me personally, I would love to see a showdown between Deadpool and Taskmaster. And let me get them on the right side here. I would love to see that showdown. I don't know if it's going to happen though or not, since I believe Taskmaster is still with Marvel as far as the movies are concerned. Hopefully they can work that out though. But if not, I'll be happy just to get Cable in the sequel. But again, let me know in the comments, what would you like to see in the Deadpool franchise moving forward? So as far as my final verdict on the movie is concerned, I think the strengths definitely outweigh the weaknesses. And even the weaknesses, you could say that maybe I'm nitpicking a little bit, and I wouldn't disagree with you. I mean, I'm just really trying to delve into the movie there, and you can make up your own mind about it when you see it, or if you have already seen it. And let me just say this, please don't spoil anything in the comments for anybody that hasn't seen it yet. But again, my final verdict, basically the strengths outweigh any of the weaknesses. And I think you should go to see this movie and not see it just once, go see it twice. And the reason I'm saying to see it twice is because I know when I was in the movie theater, there were so many big laughs that there were a lot of lines I just couldn't even hear. And I'm not even mad at the audience because I was laughing right along with them. But I did feel like I missed some lines, some good lines in there. So that's why I'm going to maybe give it a couple of days and then go try to catch maybe a matinee or early show and see it again without as much of an audience so that I can catch pretty much everything within the movie. And I think there's just no way, even if you are in a quiet theater, to catch everything in just one viewing. There's a lot going on in this movie. Okay, so don't just see it once, see it twice. Quick update about the giveaway that I'm doing here on my channel. As far as the rules, excuse me, let me get that out of the way real quick. Sorry about that. Like I was about to say, the rules have not changed at all. Okay, so this update is really just to let you all know that if you are in the giveaway, if you have done all the things that I asked of you, you've liked that video, the first giveaway video, and then if you've also subscribed to my channel and you commented to the question that I asked you on that video, okay, then you're basically in the drawing for this. Okay, I just want to say to you though, if your name is not drawn, please don't get angry about it and don't just click away from the video, because I mean, you never know what could happen.